done? Welcome, folks. Welcome back to yet another live stream here on the X Factor Safety. Operation Safety, the final frontier. But before we bring in our guests, before we do what we came here to do and have some great discussion, we are going to recognize and give a big shout out to tonight's sponsor, the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club. If you haven't heard the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club, they are here to help you grow your business. They are here to help you learn. They supply a lot of resources and their community. So head over to amazingentrepreneur.club and check them out. I want to thank them very, very much for sponsoring tonight's episode. Definitely hit them up, check them out. All socials. They're over on doing a lot of stuff on Instagram. So check out the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club over on Instagram as well as on Clubhouse. They have talks Monday through Friday, from 7, ranging from 7 to 9 a.m. So check them out, please, if you get a chance. If you're on Clubhouse, if you like that type of stuff, you want to up level your entrepreneurship game. You need some resources, need some good insight. Coach Sid, my man over there at the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club, founder of the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club, greatly appreciate it. So without further ado, let me introduce our first guest, brother from another mother. Y'all know him. He's been here many a times. Mr. Jarrod Tomassi. What's going on, senor? How are you? You're muted, brother. Unmute your mic. I can't hear. Hello. Technical difficulties. I love it. I can't hear you, brother. Come on, Jarrod. And again, don't you just love these things, people? When we do these live streams, sometimes we can't get the audio to work. So next guest, very special guest, VIP. Met him through my brother over here, JT, Jarrod Tomassi. So let me welcome Adam Board. Mr. Adam, how are you doing?
Hey, how's everyone doing? Is my mic working?
Oh yeah, your mic is working. Your mic is working. Jarrod's is having a little technical difficulties, and I'm probably all choppy, but definitely looking forward to the conversation. And Jarrod might come back and forth. So I will preface before we get into the conversation. If you have questions throughout, please put them in the chat. If you want to ask certain questions, put hashtag question so that way we can get up to the forefront and display it on there. So we're going to be diving into some operations, into some safety. Got some pre-line questions that got going on. So yeah, definitely look into it. So I'll stop talking. I'll let Adam introduce himself. Adam, what's going on, man? How are you? How did you? Let me first just say this. How did you get dragged into doing a live stream, man?
Well, first off, Pedro, I appreciate the invite, and I've seen I've seen your podcast pop up on LinkedIn over the time. It's same with Safety Justice League with some of that group, and Jarrod and I met. I don't know, probably 4 months ago. And we've just been communicating back and forth, from a safety standpoint. And he had just mentioned he was, just texted him one day and was like, hey, we should jump on a podcast. I was like, okay. I said, I've never done one. I've always listened in on them. I said, but, anything to talk about the profession that I care about, I said, love to jump on. So I think within a week, he had us three in a text, and we were we were talking about the subject and what we wanted to chat about, and that was it. So it was all Jarrod. I just told him I'm down, and he set us up with us three in a text, and that's all it was. So I'm glad to be here, though.
No, greatly appreciated, brother. Are you back? Can we hear you now?
I hope so.
There you are.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yay. Hold on.
Up a little bit.
So, yeah, we have some questions, but let me not be rude. Let me introduce Jarrod Tomassi, my boy JT, brother from another mother. Introduce yourself, brother. Some of our viewers have, the new viewers that haven't seen you, haven't heard of you. Who are you?
All right. It's good to see you both, man. It's really good to see you. Super excited about tonight. I'm Jarrod Tomassi, Senior Safety Advisor, oil and gas construction experience, mostly on data centers. Super excited. Love to coach, love to teach, love to mentor, love to learn. Really excited about tonight's subject. Hit me up on LinkedIn.
There you go. No, it's always good to have you, brother, on the live stream. So let's dive right into it. What we're talking about today, we named it this for that very reason, because we both all three of us have been on that side of production. Man, my computer's acting up, being crazy. There you go. Yeah, keep it right there. Yeah.
Hey, I just remembered that as Jarrod was coming on board, I forgot to give the audience who I was. I didn't give a background. So if you want me to give a little bit.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so Adam Board, been in safety and health for, about 11 years now. Most of my time has been in new build construction, little bit of everything, subcontractor world, GC world, consultant world. So some reason, some way, construction keeps pulling me back. And, I think that's really how Jarrod and I kind of connected. And, we got a passion for it, and it's something that we love to talk about, and, and we love to at least bring up and try to educate and, learn from others of what they're doing out there. So glad to be here and share any knowledge that I can, but also listen from the audience on things that we could help kind of drive to the next level. So that's a quick rundown of me.
No, it's always good. And sorry to skip over who you were. But yeah, no, let's dive right into it. So one first questions that we have for the panel, and then for in the audience, if you're listening, you're watching, please, what has been one of the hardest challenges with bridging the gap between operations and safety? Don't raise your hands, all this. Whoever wants to take it first.
You want to kick it off? I'll kick it off.
Yeah, go ahead, Jarrod.
Go ahead, Jarrod.
So I think what's happened in the industry is we went from a compliance industry, which was the safety cop movement, the OSHA thing, into what people thought was more of a philosophical thing, like an idea of safety, something we do when someone gets hurt, and they don't understand that safety is a business, like it's straight business. It comes with professionals, it comes with science. It comes with key performance indicators. It comes with deliverables. There's budgets involved, and it needs to start in pre-construction, and needs to go beyond handing over. And so we're forgetting that safety is a business and not just an idea or a philosophy or just rainbows and unicorns, And so it's reestablishing the fact that safety, and I said it probably 10 times on purpose, safety is a business. And so we have production and we have safety, and together we have safe production. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think bridging that gap is reteaching CEOs, senior VPs, safety directors, safety managers, general superintendents, that it's easier to make safety a business than it is to be a firefighting reactive kind of culture.
I like what you touch on there, Jarrod, in safety being a business and understanding all the dynamics. It's not, we're just not the people that go out and, put out the fires and do the safety talks. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I like the fact that you say getting the CEOs and your C-suite and, Adam being a corporate safety director, I've been in those shoes before. You've been in those shoes before. So Adam, what's your take on this question? What's been the hardest struggle, that gap, being in the C-suite to get your production to align with safety and vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, Jarrod hit, a lot of it. I mean, it's really, the industry is changing, right? I mean, over the, probably before I got into the profession, we saw small strides, but we're working with some very sophisticated clients these days that honestly, from my end, speaking from a director level and where I'm at for a new company, I mean, clients push you and they help push your program to the next level. And that helps push your executive team and your CEOs to say, look, just the day-to-day of accepting incidents and, just having safety wins needed, those days are over. We need to start factoring in safety into our projects. And to Jarrod's point, it starts from the very beginning. At least in the past, when I started, over 10 years ago, safety, it was never, hey, what do you think about this? It was like, you've got a $50 million job coming up. Hey, throw your safety thoughts on it, or, look at your reviews, or, we may need some support out there. But I think it's the industry is changing. I mean, that front end importance of pre-planning and getting buy-in and having the right team, because if you don't have the top level buy-in and the project, at the executive level, that's a fundamental part of the entire kind of core program. If you don't have that, I mean, myself, Jarrod, you, any safety professional, I mean, it's a battle that you can't win, because they're the ones with the money. They're the ones speaking. So, when you have that buy-in, I mean, and you start to really dive into why safety is important, and it's starting to change. And, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's still a challenge we're going to deal with. It's just, we're slowly making strides to just really add safety, just like we look at schedule and quality. And we look at, we make sure that there's budget and in place, and all of those things are factored at the highest level. Safety needs to be right there in its own line, because it is a business, to Jarrod's point. I mean, it's always going to be a business.
Adam's got a point there. And so we're talking about bridging the gap between operations and safety, but safety has to take the responsibility for allowing ourselves to be in this position. And I'll tell you what really got that triggered me to think about this is Adam said, yeah, when we have a quality meeting, right? You go to the quality meeting, you pull up some charts, you have an agenda, it's well thought out, it's well planned. You think about it, you look at it, there's KPIs, deliverables, there's actions, there's target dates. And in that meeting, all the questions are answered. You should leave that meeting with new deliverables and an accountability. Well, if you go to a safety meeting, most of the time, until we really started digging in, it was, all right, tell us what you think is going on out there. Where do you think the next accident's going to happen? And it becomes this debate philosophy meeting thing. And owners and GCs are allowing these like counseling sessions to happen, instead of going, welcome to today's EH&S weekly, senior meeting. Here's our agenda. We want deliverables, and we want to see where you're driving us as a safety business. So safety, we got to stop being preachers and unprepared. We need to go into these meetings as professionals with an agenda that is looking behind us currently and in the forward. So folks look at us as, proactive, not, reactive. So we both, two things, we got to sell safety as a business to our leadership, but we also have to be safety as a business, right? We have to show up to meetings well prepared, leading indicators, and going, hey, this is where the next accidents happen most likely. based on this data. If you're not doing that as a safety professional, you're not safety as a business. You're a firefighter. You're showing up, and firefighters are needed in fire departments, but not on the safety department, right? If you're showing up and waiting for stuff to happen to react to, that's not safety. And that's not safety business. That's not safe production.
Yeah, no. And again, you have a great point there, Jarrod. So that hard conversations that we have to have, you know, with getting them to understand that we are there to support, but we also need a drive that's going to support us in return. Us being able to go out there and actually being prepared for these hard conversations, to be able to go stop work and you know, stop an entire job site before something drastic does happen, and go out there and do some hands-on training. Let's get everybody involved. Let's get some specialty companies coming in to do specialized training for fall protection, for fire prevention, those types of things in a bigger capacity, which then ends up getting down to the lowest man, woman on the totem pole, the first person that's there. This is their first week into the construction, and they see that as a whole, that we are being proactive, we're not being reactive. What is your take on that, Adam? Having those hard conversations, you know, how do you start those hard conversations? What do you go in with first?
Well, you know, safety, you know, as Jarrod said, I mean, we're all in sales, right? We're selling safety. So, I mean, at that point, hopefully I'm already have that relationship built with the executive team or the project management team, that they understand it. I mean, those conversations aren't going to stop, because you're going to add new perspectives. You're going to add new people all the way. So for me, it's just, you know, it depends on the level of severity of what I'm trying to stop, right? I mean, if it's a barricade or if it's something small and minor and the risk level's low, I mean, I'm not going to stop the whole work, but, you know, I am going to bring it up to the supervisor to understand the concern. You know, if it's a, you know, an IDLH or something imminent danger, you know, I'm stopping the work right there. I'm grabbing the supervisor. We're going to chat about it. For me, it's not a hard conversation. It's more of a hard conversation for them, because you start to put ownership and responsibility back on those individuals, right? And that's what, and, you know, not all, but, you know, a lot of people aren't used to that level of ownership, you know, and Jarrod and I talked about it. I just read the book Extreme Ownership a few months ago, and I've been using that phrase a lot. And that extreme ownership of safety and health back on these supervisors, they're not used to that level yet. And, you know, I push it back on them, and then I push it up to the exec team if I have problems. But, you know, you have to realize, as a safety professional, you've got to spend time with the executive team and the project management team, and make them understand the why. Why is it important to them? Why is it not okay to just go out and find, you know, inconsistencies and non-conforming items? Why do we need to look ahead? What, you know, it's the same with, you know, you have a quality walk, or you have a, you know, a end of the project walk. I promise you that meeting that they have at the end of the day to close out items and get something turned over to a client, every one of those items will be closed out by end of business. It's the same thing that we need to look at from a safety and health standpoint. If you go out and do a walk, if you've got 6 open items, it's, you know, that sense of urgency of closing that out within an hour, 2 hours. But you've got to put time frames, action items, and people and hold them accountable. Because if you go out and have 6 open items and you say, hey, yeah, we have 6 open items, we'll just get them closed whenever. You know what? You're going to have 6 open items tomorrow, because there's a million other things that leadership team is going to do before getting to those items, if they don't believe in the ownership of it. So.
But it's not my job. It's not my job. I'm the foreman. I'm here to run work. It's not my job. Like this, we've always done it this way. What do y'all say to that? Like, you know, because again, we get that all the time. And again, some of the older generation, the ones that have done the business, I've learned a lot from them. But that is what they're ingrained with. That I'm here to push work. I'm not here to worry about safety. That is your job. And a lot of them have now turned and are starting to transition and grasp that. But when you get that answer, I'm only here to push work, I need to get this job done.
So I like to jump on that one. So first of all, emotional intelligence is big. You can't flip or deflect these type of answers. One, you need to be establishing relationships with these people so that they trust you. One. Two, you need to up your safety acumen so that when you are talking to them, that you are well understood and that you're well respected, because you tend to be correct on what you're saying as a subject matter expert. You have to keep production in mind. And what I mean by that is, if you want a partnership with somebody, I'm gonna blow your, I hope I blow your mind right now. So we have let's just say we're on a large data center. We've got 1,000 people, and an electrician doesn't lock out and tag out something properly. And we go, oh, that's live energy. Nothing happened, but it's a severe near miss, because if that person were to have broke the plane and potentially touched that, we could have had a potential fatality. Very serious. Now, what do we normally do? We stop the whole job. We take 1,000 people, we put them in a tent, we put some music on, we pump them up, tell them how unsmart they were and how they could have died, and then we send them all back. The only people who heard it were the electricians, the drywallers, the plumbers, the welders, the steel erectors, the crane operator. They're like, why'd you bring me in here for a lockout tagout? So what I'm trying to do is respect production. How about standing down the electrical team only, who's only going to understand the lockout tagout procedures anyways, and starting there, right? And so you're not conflict with production, and then they respect you, because not being this broad blanket shut down everything all the time kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to think about how important their job is, just like you're trying to convince them how important your job is, that partnership will start to progress. And they go, oh, that makes sense. So you're saying you're going to shut down 15% of the job, 15% of the workforce who's affected. That makes sense. That makes sense. So there's slight little adjustments that you can make instead of resetting everything. Because the other thing is it safe to stop everybody all the time and then restart? Because I believe that the most dangerous phases in anything is the start phase and the end phase of any work activity, right? So always constantly stopping momentum will really upset production, right? And that's why I always like to say safe production. And I might blow your mind again. I don't believe safety's first. I believe that safe decisions are equal. Okay. I hope I make that clear.
Yeah,
Safe
definitely.
decisions are equal. Now, ideal H is a stop, right? But safe production, meaning I need you to build that building, but we need to do it safely. That's partnership. And I hope you understand why I like to say that, because we need partnership.
We do. We need we need partnership, and I like that. I'm fixing to go to Adam and ask them the same question of, when you have one of those conversations. I've always done it that way. I'm here just for production, but we do need the partnerships of those older foremen, of those crane operators, of those iron workers, and I'm a firm believer as well of not stopping the entire job. I understand that line of production and that partnership. We got to keep pushing forward so we can meet production deadlines. And I'm not going to stop the entire job if it's not can, handle in one crew. In that safety meeting, guess what? This one crew's incident ends up getting around to everybody, so that way we can use it to learn. Use it as a learning tool and an opportunity, not to bash that one contractor, but to bring them and saying, hey, this is what they've learned. This is the action items and deliverables that they've given us. I want you guys to go do the same thing in watching out for possibly having this. So Adam, your take on Grumpy. I've always done it that way. I'm all about production.
I mean, that conversation is one that happens probably quite too often, right? I mean, I think we can all agree. But it's also, from a safety professional standpoint, for me, it's also an opportunity. And, because the people with the experience, especially in construction these days, you think about the generations that we have working, right? I mean, you've got your peoples in your 60s, 70s, you've got people in your 40s, 50s. These generations are changing. We need the people that have that experience. Now, the safety knowledge may not be there. For myself, it's easy to go up to a supervisor and, if he says, we've been doing it this way, one, on a safety professional standpoint, have we provided training for these supervisors? Have we provided them with upfront training? Because you think about it, all of these supervisors are coming from different project sites, different client sites. And, they may not be, for Jarrod not being in the data center industry, we're also lucky to be working with sophisticated clients and clients that push safety at the forefront all the time. And we have some very strict requirements. If we're not training to the expectations of our project site and training these supervisors, I've actually gotten away for the last, 5+ years. I don't assume anything for these supervisors, because the first person that tells me, well, I've been doing underground for 20 years, that doesn't mean that safety underground. You've just been doing production. So let's tie both of those together, right? I mean, to Jarrod's point, it has to be a partnership. At the end of the day, if you go out and you shut down a job, one, you're going to piss off the entire project team. Now, again, if it's IDLH, understood. But that's why it comes down. That's why the importance of pre-planning, education, and training and opportunity, and helping these supervisors really understand the level of training and the expectations of your site before they get out there and start supervising. I always tell my team, we're not doing training up front. How are we telling them that they're doing it wrong? It's an education moment for us as safety professionals. And I think that's one way I've bridged the gap a lot. Again, there's plenty of challenges I've went through, but just setting down, because you're going to have that. No, I don't need your input. I've been doing it. At the end of the day, I mean, if you just help educate and train and say, hey, by the way, the silica standards change. You can't just be, drilling into concrete. And I say that but that stuff still happens, and people still think that it's a safe method. Now let's take that back. What I usually do is I grab that supervisor, I'll grab his team, and I'll say, let's go back. Let's talk through it. And if we need to put them through a training, a slide deck, and some hands-on training, that's what we need to do. It's always easy for us to stop someone and say, you're doing it wrong. But if you don't take the next step and help educate, it's going to be the same problem down the road. So I put a lot of emphasis on training and education, and really just making sure that they're set up for success.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the chat real quick, because one of our good friends, and she made this comment, Tiffany Castano. Hopefully it comes to says, create a culture of catching intentionality to do good versus assuming people are always making intentional errors. Again, that right there is a culture of catching intentionally to do good, right? Not everybody is out doing bad. Sometimes they just don't know. Sometimes they forget the process. They forget steps that they've done for the past 20 years, right? Sometimes that happens. And Mr. Donald, I want to say hello, Mr. Kramer. He also said consistent messaging and positive engagement will build trust from the grumpy guy. And that's true. Consistent messaging, you got to be consistent with what you're saying. You can't say one thing and then go off and do another, or them see you doing the total opposite of what you just gave them. And also showing the positive. It's not aha, I caught you. It is, hey, why are you doing it that way? Let me learn, so that way maybe we can find a safer way to do it. So,
well, I would say, Pedro, on that one, I mean, you think about it, he hit it nail on the head. Consistent messaging is extremely difficult, and it's hard because, and it just goes back to the pre-planning, the training, and really consistent execution at the pre-planning stage and as the project starts. Because I'll give you an example. On a big, large project, you have, as a GC, you may run 10, 15, 20 safety professionals. You have to have them going through the same level of training, because what happens is that John, who's coming to the site, my site, he was just up the hill at another client site. They had different requirements as it relates to, barricades, JSAs, or lifts. And he's trying to come down here and implement to the level of what he was just doing. And then I've got my GC guy that has been there for 3 months saying something different. I mean, that's one of the more frustrating things that I hear from the workers is just the inconsistencies of messaging, and it goes across the board. And then the positive engagement. I mean, Jerry and I talk all the time about it. There's so much good happening on job sites, and we fail to realize and fail to identify that and, share it as often as it should be. We spend every all hands meeting talking about, hey, you didn't do this. This was our incidents. Why not? Hey, we had 99% of everything else was good work, safe work. Let's talk about that, because it doesn't, just because you have one incident on a site, you have a near miss, that doesn't necessarily say that the whole site is unsafe. There's a lot of good happening, and we've got to continue to promote that in a level that the workforce understands it, because they're so used to getting beat up. I mean, and truthfully, you just spend a lot of time telling them what they're doing wrong, and let's just tell them what they're doing right, because there's always a lot going on, a lot of good going on.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. One of the biggest things that, on all the job sites that I like to do is positive engagement. Yes. Are people going to make mistakes? Are there going to be errors that are made, omissions of certain things? Are they going to forget to sign off on that STA? Again, one of the things, dealing with barricades, are they going to put a barricade tag on there? No, they throw up, red danger tape. They throw up caution tape. They don't put a tag. So I don't know whose it is. But again, it's because I was doing the right thing. I was putting up the barricade. It's there. But again, missing those little steps. And we focus a lot. And this is across the board in all different industries, not just construction, in general industry and manufacturing and maritime. All the things that go wrong, there's a million other things that go right that we need to start shining light on, so that way we can have that shift forward into the final frontier of mending and bridging this gap between production and safety.
Yeah, and those got to be those engagements and those positive morale or psychological boosters need to happen in parallel and not also reactive, right? So it's not, we had an incident, let's do a positive sandwich, because it's probably the bad time to do a positive sandwich. What you should have is a positive culture, right? Because safety happens between your ears, not at your hands. So it's a behavior thing. But we got to have a positive culture so that when we have incidents and have to talk about how we missed our mark, it doesn't hit so hard, right? Because during an incident or during something, it's really hard to make it pretty, right? We got someone hurt. So back to extreme ownership, we got someone hurt. Like we can't make that pretty. But what we can is saying, wow, we have a positive morale, we have positive culture, we do incentives, we're positively engaging, we're sharing wins every day, we're looking forward, we're investing in wellness, we're investing in our people so that they go home better, so that when we do get hit with an incident, a near miss, an injury, it doesn't hurt so bad. You know what I mean? And it doesn't, it's like, oh man, I've been getting my butt kicked all week. Now I got to get my butt kicked even more, So making sure everything, all these things we're talking about are stuff that has to happen in parallel, and it has to happen every day. It has to be, it's not one at a time. That's why it's back to safety as a business. It's big business. It's a whole program. That's the other part I think that we need to talk about a little bit, is how do you bring operations and safety together from a business perspective? What are some moves we can make?
That's a good question. And I definitely, those that are in the chat, please, if you have an answer on how we can do that, me first and foremost, having those crucial conversations, not being timid to say, hey, PM, get off your ass and come out to the job site with me so I can show you where I need support at, to be able to say to that superintendent that is pushing the schedule so damn hard, time out, come with me, let's do a safer together walk, right? Because again, having those crucial conversations, having those hard conversations lets them understand that we know we have a deadline. We know logistically we have to get this material in. We know procurement has to happen and we have to spend money in order to get what we need. But for them to lay hands on what the deliverables that we need are, for them to go out there into the field and actually see the workers and say, hey, why is he without gloves? Why is he without glasses? Go over and ask him. Let's go over there and talk to the guy. What's going on? What, and to that, having that EQ of being able, is he having a bad day? Hey, Mr. PM, why don't you go ask him how his day is going? Why don't you go spark up the conversation with one of the workers and see, what information you gather? I already know, but I need you to also know with me. What do you think, Adam?
At the end of the day, I think the most important piece is, to bridge that gap. It really comes down to the early conversations before a project starts. Now, that doesn't always happen because, you get a project and you throw, but one, you think about, you ask executives and your team and really lining out, what does safety do? What is safety's job? Because so many teams, these days, they get a safety professional and they say, all right, well, you've got safety. When you line out those roles and responsibilities and expectations and sell safety as, safety is, hey, we're a reference. Hey, we are a technical expert. We were here to help you. We are not here to drive work. We were here to support you. You've got to lay that out at the beginning in the forefront, because if not, you are going to have some challenges when you just put a safety professional on a job site. You haven't had these conversations with the project manager or the superintendent, and they haven't had that level of safety engagement of what we talked about. They're going to expect the safety professional to do everything, and then to try to fight that battle under a scheduled challenge project, under everything else that goes wrong with our, the challenges we have on project sites. For them to go ahead and change that mindset of, hey, by the way, you need, 5 safety walks this week, and, you're going to be leading the toolbox talks, and the only thing you're going to get is, yeah, right, that's your job. And, that whole your job, my job, I think that's also another conversation around why the bridge is still where it's at, because I understand my role, I understand ops, and you've got to understand both sides, right? And that's where that upfront conversations and pre-planning and kickoff meetings saying, hey, we've got a logistics plan, a material handling plan. We've got steel. Who's owning that, right? As to Jarrod's point, assign that. Safety's here to support, right? We're not getting out of it. It's not like, hey, everything's on you. At the end of the day, it's got to be a supporting effort. But you also got to sell safety at the upfront in the executive level and the C-suite of what safety does with your organization.
So it's kind of interesting, Adam. Okay, so a couple things. So if senior leadership doesn't own safety as a business, you're going to fail. Okay, so just in order to make a fire happen, you need oxygen, fuel source, and heat or energy, right? That's the fire triangle. Well, in order to have a safe, productive job, you need the safety triangle. What is a construction site made up? What are the 3 points for a construction site or project success? And we'll put production at the top so that they feel good today. So production, it doesn't matter. It's a triangle, right? So all points are equally as important. But we'll put production, quality, and safety. The interesting thing is we walk into bid, the proposal process, and we go to these big companies and we go, okay, we want to build your $500 million to $1 billion data center. And they line up these 4 people. This is our safety director, and he's best friends with the general superintendent, and he's best friends with the quality guy, and I'm the VP, and we're all best buddies. And then they sell safety. okay, so what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to do all this stuff, zero this and nothing hits the this and everything on wheels this. And we've got 50 things that we promised. And this $1 billion client's going, that's why we picked you. And then the CEO or the leader who's at these meetings goes, yeah, this is my team. And then he walks out and goes, all right, production, quality, make sure you get stuff done. Safety, thanks for joining us. You just sold us a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking from an advisor, owner, rep role. You just sold me BS, right? I want to see that relationship that you sold me continue. Well, guess who's in charge of that? The VP, the SVP, the CEO, whoever sold that bill of goods needs to maintain it. So they got to be bought in just like they were when they were trying to sell their team, right? So you got to remember, like when you sell safety as a business up front, you're going to let an owner down if they don't see safety as a business in 3 months, 6 months, a year. They want all the stuff that you said in that meeting. So there's that, right? So leadership owns this, guys and gals. Leadership owns it. If you don't have a safety triangle or the safe construction site triangle, or let's just call it a success triangle, it'll never work. You need all three of those components to work.
But I like the way Donald Kramer, I mean to interrupt, but I like the way Donald Kramer said it. He said, safety triangle, love it. Safety at the bottom as a foundation and support system.
Sure.
That is key. And again, at the top, the production holds its value, the quality holds its value, but without safety, you're going to topple over. You're not going to be stable. You're not going to be established and be able to go on to the next job to build even a bigger foundation and continued success. So, wow.
Yeah. And I am talking. So if there's leadership out there, I'm talking to you. I'm just saying, I'm sorry. I'm saying, man, we need your help. If you don't own safety as a business, you're not going to have a safe site. You won't. It'll be a reactive site. The team will be in turmoil. You're going to lose safety managers. You're going to be frustrated when events happen and you're getting your butts kicked by RCAs and you're getting your job stopped and you're coming in and you're getting fingers pointed at you and your team's getting beat up. Just remember, it's your fault. So that's still all those leaderships out there. And I'm courageous enough to say that. If you don't,
that's your job, Jarrod. That's your job, Adam. That's your job, Pedro.
Yeah. So leadership, you own safety. You own safety business. You own the quality business. You own the production business. You own the budget. Make sure they're all given and are invested in, all of them equally.
Nice. No, and great conversation so far. I do have a couple of other questions that I want to ask both of you. So the first question being, what inspires you to be different in your approach to safety? Not just understanding safety as a business, but what actually inspires you to approach it that way? Adam?
To me, what inspires it to approach it that way is, I would say, the level of impact of being able to, because if you think about it, if you work with companies that really take safety at the level of it's a business, we fully bought in, you can really make an impact as a professional at the business level, at the ground level, and people really see the real buy-in to the safety. So for me, I'm with a company now, really new company that is really growing. I'm helping leadership. I feel like I'm helping leadership kind of understand the level of safety that we need to as we're driving home with some of these hyperscale clients. And we're starting to get the buy-in, right? And it's not an overnight success, but to me, it's the impact I'm able to make. And, you help educate an executive level team, you help educate the frontline supervisors, but you also have the ability to help kind of move, the needle with the workforce. But I've been on projects. You think about the projects that you've had good leadership support, project managers and superintendents, And you think about your projects that you've had no support and you were literally there doing everything safety, and it's night and day. The people, the ones that you don't get support, you're not with that company anymore. You're not supporting that company because it's not good for us. I mean, from a mental health state, from everything that you talk about, you will not make change if you do not have buy-in. And for me, it's impact with, where I'm at now and getting buy-in from my leadership team and helping educate and execute. So for me, it's impact.
Nice. What about you, Jarrod? What inspires you to approach safety differently, or in a different light?
I think what inspires me is, how do I say this? Failure inspires me. So learning from my own mistakes, going from a young that thought that came with some type of interesting authority, and then getting into the point where I thought safety was about compliance, and then getting into the fact where I thought everybody should know what I'm talking about, and then getting my butt kicked all the time, going, what's wrong? And then all of a sudden I realized it's about emotional intelligence. Just like how do I sum this up? So I went out with the general superintendent the other day, and we looked at a piece of electrical equipment, a PDU, and we sat there for about 2 minutes. And I said, what do you think? We looked at a job, right? We were kind of looking at the job and assessing. And I said, what do you think? He came up with 6 things that I had no idea. I would have never thought of. We have different lenses. Mm-hmm. And so what I realized is our job is to coach, teach, and mentor always. So when you pull up the PTP or your job, whatever permit, whatever you call it out there at your job, you find things that are omitted. You ask them why they omitted it. One, maybe they just forgot. If they did forget, ensure they understand the importance of that section. And once they say, yeah, I know why it needs to be bump tested, I just forgot, you don't have to go into a bunch of teaching. Hey, it's just you help them remember, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're going through it and they're like, man, you know what? Not only did you guys never teach me this thing, I don't know what these words mean. And so basically, when I'm talking to a CEO, I was talking to a CEO 2 weeks ago about safety as a business. He told me, Jarrod, the hardest division in my company is safety. And I said, because you don't run it like a business. Well, the hardest thing for the foreman is safety too. You know why? Because we're not teaching them. We're not teaching the importance of that beautiful permit. And I always tell them, this permit is to protect you, not to make your day harder. It gives you the answers to the test, and it helps you check this stuff off. Now, let me tell you why a 20-pound ABC extinguisher is important and not just a 10-pound. Do you know that? Have you ever seen the video of a 10-pounder? It lasts about 20 seconds. It doesn't put out an incipient fire like it's supposed to, whatever that is. And then they walk away better than they came, right? And you walk away having built a relationship. So I think what I'm trying to say is, I used to be the oil and gas safety compliance dude, right? That's how I was taught. And I was military, and I was like, but then I realized, man, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. We need to be coaching, teaching, mentoring, asking open-ended questions, maybe learning yourself why they do it that way, and then going, oh, that is the best way. You know what I mean? Yeah, mm-hmm. It looks easy because I don't do it, but you're right. You're doing it right. So slow down, give people your time, ask open-ended questions, build relationships, and walk away both having learned something. I learned from my mistakes, man. That's it. I wish I would have learned faster. I wish I would have known that a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, no, not a problem. And to that, being an inspiration, and I asked that, what inspires you is really that, being an inspiration for that one person that is out there that really needs, some coaching, really needs some mentoring. And everybody needs a coach, a mentor, somebody that they can help and assist, but also with all that knowledge, you leaders out there, superintendents that have been doing it for 20 years, don't hold that knowledge. Let somebody else have some of that. Some of your younger guys, your apprentices that are coming up through the ranks, some of your safety guys that are trying to understand why you're pushing the work that you're pushing. So that way we can help and assist and support to be that inspiration for those apprentices when they come, and ask, hey, why is he riding me so hard? Well, because he told you about the, the paperwork that we do every morning, or the step that you've missed 3 days in a row that's going to get you, hurt. So definitely being an inspiration to everybody. How do you make a difference every single day? Even when, because I've had those days where I wake up and I'm like, do I really want to go out there and be the safety guy today? Am I making a difference? Right? How do you go out and make a difference every single day?
I could start, Jarrod. I mean, there are days that you're like, man, I'm not going to make any change. I don't know if safety's for me, because we all get to that point, right? But I mean, my CEO says it all the time. Every single day he wakes up, puts his boots on, and each day is a new day. And I'm a positive, optimistic guy. So I don't try to dwell on the past, and I try to always look at every day is a new day. How can I be a better safety professional? How can I help someone, just one person? And that could be an email. That could be a text message. That could be, if I'm out on job sites, which I'm not, I don't get the chance to be out as much as I used to. Each day is a new day for me, because if I let the things that, happened this week or, happened yesterday, I mean, we know that stuff can linger with us for days on in and out. So I wake up, put my boots on. Today's a new day. And like I said, I'm a positive, optimistic guy. So I'm always in a fresh start. So I've got a smile on my face, and, I try, if I could try to make an impact on one person, if that's virtual or whatever, a text message, that's kind of how I operate. Every single day is a new day.
Nice. What about you, Jarrod?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this answer is super interesting, or the question's super interesting, but really it's our job. It's why we get paid, man. We're supposed to get up, go to work, and make a difference every day. And even when we're having a tough day. Now, that also, you have to understand what's that tempo look like, though. Do you have to have these big, huge wins every day? No, you got to pace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could, seriously, man, see, I would love to do a podcast on the health and wellness of safety professionals, because I think it's an extremely tough job, and I think we're tough on ourselves. But if I have one win more than I had a loss that day, and I don't, loss may be a hard word, I still won. We still, if you know what I mean, if I passed the test by a 71 and a fail was a 70 or whatever, you got to remember you made a win, but you get paid to get up and lead every day. And the other thing that's difficult is you're not going to see the fruits of your labor every day, because we're in the business of preventing stuff. So I normally walk out, and when I tell the team, I said, all right, I'm going outside to save lives. And we giggle, and I say, look, I have a quota of 4 lives every day, but today I'll do 6. I can't prove that I've done anything, but I can tell you what, I'm going to do it day in, day out, because that's what we owe everybody. And here we are, doing a podcast because we want to do this. We want to engage. We want people to learn, and we want people to go home safe. So just don't forget that one win more than a loss is still a win. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, most definitely.
Don't be too hard on yourself. And even if you had, let's say, the day where it just all went wrong, don't eat it all. Own what you can own. Learn from your mistakes, but don't let it consume you. Don't let it back up and go, okay, this adjust. Let's adjust. Yeah, man. Just be happy with small wins sometimes.
I like that. I like that. You're not always going to win. Safety professionals, CEOs, leaders, you're not always going to win. But I like utilizing the method, and what really keeps me going, and having that approach every single day. If we don't have those wins, we chalk up more losses than we do wins. Guess what? We've, in a sense, kind of fail, right? We fail, but we fell forward, right? Mm-hmm. We learn from those losses and turn those into wins tomorrow, the next week, the next month. Again, I after my heart attack, I was broken. I was like, fuck, how am I going to do what I do if my heart's not all the way there, right? It needs some TLC, but with the good support system at home, and the wife and kids and them pushing me to be a better me, support system with my brother, Jarrod here, just and Tony Taylor and a couple other people that that I shout out, hey, you're not done. Got a lot more to live for. You got a lot more lives to save. So you're not always gonna win, man. Just put that out there. Those that are listening, those that are viewing us, you're not always gonna win. It's not all unicorns and rainbow sunshine and hee hee ha ha. Sometimes it hurts, but you pick up, you keep moving forward. So who now transition? Who has inspired you throughout your career? And I'll go with Adam first.
Oh, I was going to say it's Adam.
Hey. Hey, we inspire each other. How about that? Because that's how we linked up.
He's
nice.
Smart, but we've only known each other a short time, but really kind of had a cool bromance so far. But yeah, go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. I mean, are you referring more into the safety professional space or just anybody?
Who's inspired you?
For me, it's been my, my family. Again, I'm a big family guy. I do what I love, but ultimately it's to support them. And, my wife's been around, me and, during the good and the bad. And, this profession isn't always the easiest, as Jarrod had pointed out, but, I do what I do because, it's my family. I mean, my family is they support me. I travel pretty extensively at times, and, it's not always the luxury and the great world of, going to hotels, but, so family is definitely one. Two is, I've got a couple different people in the profession. And I try to stay like Jarrod and I, we met probably 4 months ago, and we've only met once, but, I consider Jarrod not only, someone in the safety community, but also a friend. And hopefully that's the same with, with you, Pedro, as I continue to kind of, the safety profession is a small world. And, I like to build those relationships because you don't know who you're going to be working with. And I always I always ask questions to some of the same people. And I like to keep that network going. But, Ryan Rollleader is one person. Ryan's the one of the safety directors out at Intel in Oregon. Him and I went to school together. We've been friends for, 10 plus years. And, he's one of those guys that, I just ask questions. We ask each other questions, and we just really drill each other on, learning, right? I mean, as professionals, we're never going to learn everything. We always got to have the ability to say, hey, I don't know. Hey, Jarrod, if I don't know much about, a particular topic, and say, Jarrod, hey, what do you know about this? Can you help me to get better? And then the other person would probably be Scott Gaddis. Scott was pretty much the first person that gave me opportunity in the safety profession, 14 years ago, when he brought me on as an intern with no experience. And, for me, I'm thankful for that, because, that guy actually just really set the tone and taught me safety. And really, he always led me with two things. He said, if you want to be successful in this business, technical in your craft, and be good with people. And I've always used that. And I try to be good with people, and all different types of people, and, within an organization and within the profession. But you've got to know what you're talking about too, right? I mean, you've got to understand. I mean, even though the rules and regulations and, spitting out OSHA regulations isn't always the best, you still have to know what you're talking about. So for me, those are the people that inspire me, and really who I kind of what I do on a daily basis.
Nice. What about you, Jarrod?
Yeah, man. So I've had so many inspirations, or people that have inspired me. Got hands down, it's got to be the man upstairs. First and foremost, wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. Proverbs definitely has changed my life, and I won't get deep into that, but trying to be wise, right? Just being wise and stepping back. Of course, my beautiful wife and kids, that they're, when I hire safety professionals, I hire off of four things: passion, experience, education, and then certifications, CSP, ASP, MSHA, stuff that makes you a subject matter expert, and definitely making sure that my family is well taken care of is a passion in mine. So they inspire me. So yeah, the man up above, my family inspire me, but there's been some colleagues out there or some mentors that, I'm 44. So, Steve Williams, my first college professor out of the Army, who made me realize that I was smart by just applying myself. My first exam was a 70%, and he's like, if you get another, if you this is how you're going to do your EMT program, you're never going to make it. But he just had this way of inspiring. So, Steve Williams was there. Scotty Rand from Microsoft. He was my first supervisors in data centers. And, I came right in there, like totally, like, Adam was saying, like safety acumen, international experience. And he's like, dude, you need to like learn to connect with people. You need to connect with people. And he taught me emotional intelligence. He taught me about active caring, Pedro, Adam. I mean, seriously, the people that I normally do podcasts with is because they inspire me. Like, seriously, like, I'm like, this is going to be interesting. I want to learn what they're thinking. So, Don Kramer's on here. He inspires me. I know there's some people out there that have really impacted me, but honestly, there's so many inspirations every day that get me through this. Maybe that's part of us being optimistic. Maybe part of that is why we, what that helps you look for the wins. But man, I guess what I'm saying is there's a few people I could name, but I think that there's so many people that just inspire me constantly. Sometimes it's just a quote on LinkedIn, I think being just open to inspiration, and not, there's a term that I'm learning about. There's a book out there. I can't remember the name. I'm terrible with the names of books, and even the names of songs are like words. I just like hum. Yeah, it's a good song. But it talks about growth mindset and getting out of your comfort zone, and instead of staying in your comfort zone. And so I'm always looking for people to inspire me out of my comfort zone. And a lot of people do that, dude. A lot of people do that. There's just too many to name, man. Too many to name.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, definitely. You guys inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing. I like getting, I'm a people person. I'm a real extrovert. I can talk to anybody. I can hold a conversation. My wife sometimes gets mad at that, but my wife is my rock and my support system. She keeps me very grounded and shows me lots of love and support. My daughters, I have 4 princesses that I have to look out for, and they are the main reasons why I get up and do what I do. Greg Broquet, good superintendent that I had, taught me a lot on how to run production, how to run work. And Jeff Cook, also very good superintendent, who has showed me the ropes and kind of having those crucial conversations and how to talk to people. So it's just a lot of our safety colleagues that I look to for inspiration. A lot of people that I've been on Clubhouse, Sid Meadows, Kim White, Carrie Zarb, these people that inspire me to continue with the content creation, because again, this is content, safety content. It's leadership development, it's culture building, community building. So I am inspired to do this. Oh, yep, don't forget the Lorax, Doc Martin, Nate Brayman. Again, a lot of people to be to name out there. So my final question, because I know we're already past the hour. My final question to both of you, and Jarrod, you've answered this many a times, but I have to ask it. So I'm gonna ask Adam first. Adam, what is your X factor?
What's my X factor? Jarrod's probably already got a couple in his mind since he's been on these. I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, what's my X factor? What's something that kind of makes me stand out, or whatever you want to call it? I would say for me, I would say it's people skills. I mean, everything that we do, and especially what I do, is around people. Even if it's selling safety, driving safety, you're dealing with people regardless. So, and I think that's ultimately what's helped me in my career, because there's a lot of people out there from a technical side that has more knowledge than me. Luckily for us these days, we have, technology where I can look up whatever I need to. But, you're going to deal with the different levels of people, especially in the safety realm of things, from the CEO all the way down to the field worker. And you've got to really be able to adjust your conversations and the way you talk to people, and to make an impact. Because if you can't talk to the same way at the executive level as you do down at the field level, you got to put things in layman's terms. And I don't say that we have to be the likable person, but people want to work with people they like, right? I mean, and so for me, I would say that's really my X factor, is people, and really gauging people and really building relationships, because that's ultimately what we're in for, right? I mean, we're building relationships, long-lasting relationships, and and throughout that journey, we're hoping to make an impact and have small wins. So that's me.
Nice. Jarrod, what's your
Yeah, I can attest, dude. You definitely got some skills with people.
I like people, man.
Yeah, man. I was like, dude, and you have this voice that's just calming too, man. It's like I like it. I think honestly, like connecting, networking, influencing. It's what I love to do. Cross-pollinating. Maybe it's because I want to learn how someone else did it, so I don't fail. Like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel,
Yeah.
And then so that's what I think it is. I think for me, my X factor is connecting, networking, and influencing. And so it comes with a lot of responsibility, though.
Nice. Yeah, no. So let everybody know where they can reach you at. How can they get in contact with you? And Adam, while you're doing that, I'm gonna bring up some of the comments that that just run through some of the comments that people were commenting.
What's up,
But
Gabe?
yeah, go ahead. See, let everybody know. Don said, "Suit up and show up" is a consistent message. It's a commitment to life. Yes, sanity. If you don't show up, you're playing catch up. That's good. I like it. So, where can they find Adam at?
I'm on LinkedIn pretty regularly, probably daily. So, ping me on chat. Again, I try to catch up on any podcast. You can, most of the time it's easy to catch me on LinkedIn. So I would say primarily, if you want to chat, talk to me, have something that's, safety related that, you're doing or promoting, send it to me in chat. I'm a pretty responsive person. And I operate on speed. So, I don't see everything, but, I'm always looking for things that I can learn from or join in on conversations. So LinkedIn, that's where you can find me.
Nice. What about you, Jarrod? Because I know you kind of LinkedIn. I know you did the social media cleanse.
I'm in Lytle, Texas. So if you want to come down and have some White Claws and some barbecue, you're in San Antonio, hit me up. I'll love to connect. But yeah, man, you're gonna find me on LinkedIn. I don't have Facebook, Tinder, Instagram. I have nothing.
I would hope you wouldn't have Tinder.
I just name stuff that I've heard of. TikTok.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing, dude. So yeah, LinkedIn is where I'm at. JT Tomassi.
Nice. And y'all know where to find me at all over the place. Social media, Clubhouse. I'm there. The xfactorsafety.com. Check out the website. Go follow these two gents right here. Make sure that when you do follow, don't just go and hit connect with them. Tell them who you are, because we've been getting a lot now due to the LinkedIn newsletters and some other updates over on the LinkedIn side. Guess what? Some of those bots and spammy stuff we don't want. So make sure that we know that you're real. You're a real person and you're not a bot. So I greatly appreciate it, fellas. You guys rock. Jarrod, greatly appreciate you making this connection with Adam. Adam, looking forward to having you on again and actually diving into some more stuff about you, a solo episode maybe. But again, we can definitely do this day in and day out. I like being here. Construction Life 365. Follow the hashtag. Jarrod will get you hooked up with some of the badass trucker hats. So with that being said, greatly appreciate everybody that's been in the chat. Gabe, Don, Jesus, Tiffany, everybody that's been there. Greatly appreciate your support. Again, we do this for you and for everybody else that watches on Team Replay. Hey, greatly appreciate you. Any final thoughts? Anybody?
Have a good night. Love y'all.
Yeah, appreciate it. Glad to be here. Let's plenty other topics we can talk about. So whenever we need to, we can line them up for days. So I'm excited to just help educate and add me on LinkedIn and we could chat.
Nice. Well, I greatly appreciate you, fellas. Everybody out there, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button, share it if you want to. Come back and see us the next time we go around and have some good conversation. Remember, ask yourself that one question: what is your X factor? Until next time, we'll see you